Now, today we will talk about permission sets. Permission set is nothing but any exception to a profile. Now, if you remember that, last class we created a profile called as super user 999. We allocated this profile to Venkat. If you also remember that, there are few fields we said no, Venkat cannot see. For example, there was a fax field. Venkat cannot see, not update, right? There's a couple of fields we have seen that we stopped Venkat to update and everything. Whomever I'm giving this profile, right? Whoever, whether it's a Venkat, whether it's a XY person, Y person, none of these person would be able to see the fax field. Because if you remember that, we did a field level security and we said that I unchecked visible equals to false. I unchecked read only equals to false. Now, out of this 10 people, for example, let's assume that in a real time, you have assigned this profile called as super user 99 to 10 people. Comes and tells you, or he raised a trouble ticket stating that he wants to see the credit card number and the fax number. He's on a special project. He would like to have a visibility on the fax field, which we have disabled. Now, what you are going to do? You are not going to change the profile, because if you change the profile, then what will happen? The remaining 9 will also get a visibility in the fax and the credit card field, or whichever field we stopped. For that one person, it is foolishness to create a one more profile, right? So hence the concept of permission sets comes into place. What is a permission sets? Permission set always does the opposite of profile. Profile says don't show. It will say show. However, it doesn't do the negative part of it. Profile says shows. You cannot make it don't show here. If there is a don't show there, you can make it show. There it says don't edit, don't create, you can put it create. There is a cannot delete, you can make opposite can delete. Right? So remember this. That's called as permission sets. So what is a permission set? It is nothing but it is exactly the opposite of what the profile does. Whatever the limitations you have in the profile, those limitations on an exceptional basis can be handled with the help of permission sets, only for few set of users. So after you create the permission set, we assign the permission set to whom? To the users. And automatically the users get the power what the permission set is providing. Rule is saying no, permission set is saying yes. System will say yes, and system will display the field. For example, now I go ahead and I click on a new permission set. I click on manage user, I click on permission set, I click on new permission set. Now the new permission set I'll create. What is the permission set I'll create? I'll create something called as special project. Special project, I'll use PS at the last, permission set. Special project PS 999. So that's the permission set I'm creating. Okay. Which license? I don't know the license, which license I'm talking about. But I remember it is a Salesforce license, so I can select Salesforce platform, but better not to select a license. I click on OK. I can write a description. This permission set is used as an exception to a profile called as super user 999 for all those, or I can say all those who doesn't have a visibility to fax and credit card number can use this permission set. Because see, I'm not linking to any license now. So now I click on save. A permission set has been created. Blank permission set, right? Blank permission set. If you remember that in the profile, what are the apps super user 99 can browse other than a marketing app, he cannot see any other app. We unchecked work.com, we unchecked sales, we unchecked, call center, everything we unchecked. Now I go here and I say assigned apps, and I say, okay, edit, it's coming up. I say edit, and then I say that call center. Profile says you cannot browse call center, whereas permission set, I'm saying you can browse this. Sales, service, marketing. Click on as save. Right? So all the apps got added. Whichever apps you want, I added it. Right? So you can see that I added it. Right? I'm just going back to permission set overview. So I added my app. There is no connected app. The next we'll talk about the object settings. Which are the objects he can use? You can see that. So accounts, all are no access, right? See, everywhere it's no access, no access, no access, no access, no access, no access, right? So I click on account. I just click on it, and then I click on edit. There, if you remember that in the profile, I'm just opening the profile also. Right click, I'm opening in another window. Super user 999 I'm opening. There are two windows I have now. You can see that on the top there are two pages. So see, I'm opening the super user 999. If you remember that, other than console, he can't browse. I'm scrolling down, right? If you remember here, I'm still scrolling down. You can see that for accounts, he can't create account. He can't delete account. Cases. Any person who has super user 999 can't create a case, can't edit a case, can't delete a case. So now I'm going there. Account. Create. Edit. Delete. See, there it's saying cannot. Here I'm saying including the field. Fax was not visible. I say edit. Fax is visible. Here I'm going down. You can see that. Right. I just go down, go up, and I have field level security. I just click on view. I'm in the profile now. If I'm viewing the profile, I see that see fax. It's not checked. That means any person who has super user 999 cannot see the fax number. But now what I'm doing, I'm going to the opposite part. Fax, read. I click on, right? That's good. I click on save. See, same way I'll start configuring. Now that you can see that in the account, not only he can create the account, he can also, right, read the facts, create the facts. I'm going back to the permission set overview. Right? Same way, any type of app permissions, right? We don't have any special app, but yes, you can see that can he create library or not? There we might have removed it. I say edit. All the long, can he manage case or not? Yes. Can he create library or not? Yes. Can he? Yes. Can he print or not? Can he write a manage article or not? All these checkboxes were there. Can he convert a lead or not? All these main checkboxes, I'll go ahead, and even if it's not there, I mean, it will make no harm. Suppose it's already there, he can manage case. You check here, manage case. Don't worry, it will not make any harm. So you can, if you uncheck all, if any one of them is not available in the profile, then what will happen? This will be available from your permission set. So now I created it. App permissions. I go back to the overview page again, right? All your Apex class, Visual Force, these are all technical classes we'll discuss. Now you see that a permission set has been created. What is that? Special project PS 999 999. That's really good. Now I'll go and I'll say manage assignments. Right? I have to give it to someone. So it was okay. Add assignments. I'll add Mr. Venkat to this. Venkat, Vamshi, Bhuvaneshwari. Maybe Bhuvaneshwari already had a system administrator profile where she can see everything. So giving this, okay, look like that Vamshi cannot give because the license doesn't allow. Okay. So Venkat it succeeded. Remaining, you can see that it's saying the license is not allowing because this is a Salesforce platform license, whereas Venkat has a Salesforce license. I said, okay, no problem. So tomorrow if Bhuvaneshwari have a Salesforce license and she has an visibility to this field, and again you come and check here second time, don't worry, nothing will happen. Two-time visibility will not create any problem. If Bhuvaneshwari doesn't have a visibility through profile, then through this permission set, she can start getting access. Another person sitting just beside Bhuvaneshwari also is a system admin, but he can't see. Bhuvaneshwari can see. Both have the same profile. You cannot assign a permission set to a role. You cannot assign a permission set to a profile. You can only assign permission set directly to a user. Whoever the user is, you can directly assign the permission set the way we have just assigned it to Venkat G. G Venkat. We just assigned it directly. So you can do that. Right? As I told you, permission set will just give access. It will not remove access. So if it's a read only, to a permission set, you can make read and write. Right? Right. It's a high level than the profile level. It will not inherit the local rights. It will give rights. Right? So that's the whole thing. It will never do the negative part of it. It is only the positive part. If you don't have access, it will give access. If you have access, it will not remove your access. Don't worry. Right? So highest is your permission set. It is for an exception. No, I have all read only. For example, in a trainee batch, there are 50 people joined. All 50 I'll give a read only, but one of them I'll give a edit permission. For that one person, I'll not create a separate profile. I'll just create a permission set and I'll assign that to one person. So that person is, it's an exception. That's it. We will not create a separate role or profile for that. Right? That's called permission set. Right? Next, that's good. Next, let us see some groups, public groups. If you remember that groups we can create from here, and groups can also be created from where? When you go back to the end user screen, you click on the plus sign. You have an option called as, right? When I see that people, you have an option called as group. This is a personal group. Remember that. Created by an end user. This group, whenever you create the group from here, right? Fun club or my friends, it is only for sharing chat windows, sharing images, but not for any official record activities like case. Like one case need to be shared with a team. You cannot share with this group. This is just a chatter group. Whereas when you click on setup, when you click on manage user, and then you click on public group, and then you click on new group, you create some new group here. This group has a record level access. That means with this group, you can start sharing accounts, contacts, leads, and this is a recognized group. Whereas the group that is created from the end user screen is an unrecognized group. It has no much importance in the whole CRM system. So now I create a group called as HYD. What I'm doing, I click a group called as HYD Hyderabad, SFDC, DEV development, LEV level 1. I create a group, okay. Grant access using hierarchy. Who should be able to get the access to this group? Question raises. I want to do by roles. All the CEO, or if you remember that we created a chart, all zonal manager east, all zonal manager west, and subordinate below people, below zonal manager, there are so many people are there. If you remember the chart, under south we have Telangana state, we have Tamil Nadu. Under Telangana state we have created Telangana state and AP under south, and Karnataka. Under Telangana state we have Hyderabad, Warangal. Everyone will get access to this team. Whatever you post to this team, anyone with this will be able to see. No, I don't want subordinates. I want only role. So I'll say that I'll remove this. I don't want. Okay. For south, yes. But for other state, for east, I want only the zonal manager should be able to see. Whoever has a role called as zonal manager east can have access to this team. Right? We'll talk about delegated administrator later. For the moment, let's not talk about it. So now you can add by user. I want to add Vamshi to it. You can add by user, you can add by role, you can add by role and subordinate, everything, and then click on save. A new team has been created, a group called as Hyderabad SFDC Development 1. Hyderabad SFDC Development 1. A team is created. Right? So how to use it? We'll see this later. How to use it. Right? Or else you can see that. You can go back to a case. I'm just creating one case because this is a new system that I created. Who is the contact person? I don't know whether I have any accounts account created or not. I don't see that I have any data here. So I just go ahead and I create a contact, new. I say that, right, I say that S-H-A-R-U-K Shahrukh, K-H-N Khan, right, I click on save, then I go ahead and I click on accounts, I create account called as, a new account called as ABC Technology, ABC TCH, right, I click on save, now I go back to my contact, I just open my contact. I'm doing all this work which we already did it. I go to the account name. I link it to ABC Technology now. And I click on save. Done. Now I go back to my case. I register a case. I say new case. Who is calling? I'll say that Shahrukh Khan is calling. Shahrukh Khan. What is the problem? I'll just type some problem. I click on save. Okay, what is the case origin? I'll say phone. I'll say save. It is saved now. A case has been created. You can see that. Case. Now, I can click on change. It will ask you user or a queue. We will select the queue. You can see that you can't assign anything to a team. Records cannot be assigned to a team. This is the case. I can give it to a queue, which will create a queue. But you can't use a record. Record can be shared, but cannot be. You cannot do it with a team. Remember this very well. It is an important question. Can we share a record with a team? Answer is no. Sorry. Can we assign a record to a team? What I was doing, I was just trying to change the ownership. A team cannot be a owner of a record. It has to be individual person, right? How can a team be a owner? One record, 20 people? No. It should be specific. You can make a queue as a owner. So owner is this queue, but not as a team. Remember this. What is a queue? We'll see later, right? What is the use of these? I just created setup. I went. I just created manage user. I just created a public group, right? I open the public group. I'll start add. Already I have given the rule who should access, what should be done, right? You can see that. Usage we'll see later as we go inside, right? So just for now, you have to remember that the thumb rule is that a record owner cannot be a team. It can be a queue or an individual. An individual can be a record owner. A queue can be a record owner, but not a group. A group cannot be a record owner. Yeah? Where to use it? We'll see this public group later. Now, next, the queue. That's the reason I was showing you. Queue. Specialized folder or a mailbox, specially used to handle certain fixed related subject is called queue. For example, you call Airtel, you say that I have some network problem. The call center agent will troubleshoot. He'll tell you to restart the mobile phone, he'll tell you to change the SIM card, he'll tell you to come out of the location, he will tell you so many things. Still the problem not resolved. Then what he'll do is that he will transfer this case to a queue. To which queue? A queue called as level 1 network issues. It will transfer to a queue. Remember that, right? So I'm here to create a new queue. I say queue. Every queue has an email address. What is a queue? I say network issues issues 1. What is the queue name? Network issue 1. What is the queue email address? Network issue @airtel.in. So what is happening is that when a ticket has been assigned to a queue, I will also reply from the queue. I will, even though I'm a physical person, but on the top you will say that you will get from this network @ni@airtel.com. You'll get a reply saying that hi, right? We have received your case and we are working on it. Hi, we have resolved the case. If you want to contact that person, you can't contact it because name is not visible, right? Name will show as what? Network issue 1. Email address, if you see, it will show that ni@airtel.in. So hence it is a untraceable, right? You don't know who is the contact person, but still you get a response from them because that's going to a queue. So queue is nothing but it is a inbox or it's a folder with a common interest or with a specified requirement. You create HR queue in your office. There might be so many queue, order processing queue. So all the order processing people from the round group send an email to them in a required format. And there are 10-15 agents who will be scrubbing those and uploading them in the CRM. So they does that, right? Now, as usual, this is for what? This is to handle cases. Only cases, not orders. You can create a separate queue for order. You can see that, you can create something called as, all the orders in your company need to be processed or checked by an expert queue. Or all the orders greater than 70,000 or all the orders greater than 5 lakh has to, this queue particularly should have a visibility in it. If you have any type of time-based requirements or something like that, you can definitely go ahead and you can start, implementing this. So now I'll say that this queue supports cases, only cases. Okay, who can use this queue? Bhuvaneshwari can access, Venkat can access, and I'll go by role. Any person, I don't even know the person name, but if he is the General Manager South, he should have access. Might be Venkat might be General Manager South, so not a problem. 2 accesses also is okay. So I go ahead and I click on save. A new queue has been created. What is the queue name? Network 1 issues. You can see that the queue these are the people who will be accessing the queue. Right? Now if you go back to your cases, right? Which one? I go back to my case. I have an open case. Click on open. Now go ahead and click on right change. And from here, select queue, click on queue, automatically this case, send an email notification. So customer will get, and all the 3 users who are belong to the queue will get an email now stating that, hi, a new ticket has been allocated to your queue, right? So alert mail. So I click on save. System is now saving. And who is the owner now? You can see that the case owner is not a person anymore. It belongs to a queue. Queue is the owner of the course, and they will start resolving those cases. This is how you form queues, right? I go back to my setup again. I go back to my manage users. I click on queue, and this is how we do queue, right? Don't worry, in real time, this all will be given in a business requirement. You don't need to put a brain. They will tell you to create, and you'll create. That's it. Clear? Next, the last one, we'll see the adoption manager later. Any doubt? Anyone? Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes, that's correct, right? So it is what's your role is about. That's the whole thing. What is happening is that after mapping, a final documentation is prepared. That is the what the documentation is given to the developers actually. In a big companies, right? All the requirements are gathered. There are 300 requirements, for example. Customer doesn't say that I want a queue. Customer will they never even know what is that. They will say that they have a requirement and they will give you 300 points to cover. You will do the mapping and you will create a separate document again. On that, you will say that create this, create that, we will do this, we'll do that. And that is the place I'm talking about, that document. So many companies have this. They make the documents, right? That is the called as the consultant. The Salesforce consultants are the people who knows everything. He will map it and he will say how many of them can be doable, achievable out of the 300, which are the crucial one, right? So you will say that 280 are must and mandatory. So can you map all those things with the Salesforce? Yes. If no, can we do with the programming? Yes. Okay, that's good. So can we, the 20 cannot be done. Then you will go back to the client saying that out of 300, 280 are possible, 20 are not possible. And if you do this, the cost will be too much high. And we have a lot of complications. We might need to bring so many additional features. We might affect this, that all. Is it mandatory? So they will say, no, it's not mandatory. So now you can go ahead and you can send them this, right? So that's what it will be in the real time. Clear now? Right. The last topic for the day, as well as for this block, is called login history. Here you can see that who logged in, when logged in, from which country you logged in. You see that it says that Rupam, who logged in, this particular user logged in, Rupam. From which IP address, from these IP address, from which country. You can see that for one day I logged in on 29th, right? Day before yesterday I logged in from United States, right? 2 days back I logged in from United States. Remaining days I logged in from India, right? It tells me that which operating system I'm logging in. From Mac operating system, from Windows. What was the browser I was using. I was using Safari 7. I was using Chrome 44. And remaining days I was using what? Mozilla Firefox. So it is keeping all the track of whoever is logging in, right, to the system, whether it's Venkat, whether whoever is logging in with the username and password, system will keep a track of the IP address. It will keep you for the last 6 months data. It will not keep more than last 6 months, right? It is just for monitoring purposes, and it will show maximum to 20,000 records here, and you can export them to a CSV file. You can see that. You can export them. And after the 20,000, it will display, right? After the 6 months is over, your decremental manner, your log starts deleting. So from today, exactly last 6 months it will remember. Tomorrow, today minus 1 from the last 6 months. It will keep on decreasing the date. So in single word, today plus, right, 6 months. Today plus 6 months, right? Or going forward in the development classes, we'll see how can I download more, right? Rather than this, how can I download from my database? We'll see there. Clear?